Hi, Jay.
Hi, Reed. How are you?
Good to see you. Just spoke to James Hamlin, who I know you mentioned briefly in the postgame last night, and I asked him if, some people call you an underdog. How do you feel about that? And he goes, well, if that's it, fine, but call me whatever you want. His story is unique. Like, do you view him as, man, he's this plucky little guy hanging on, or how do you view his journey through camp?
He's still here, Reed. He's still fighting every day. Every rep he gets in practice is important to him. And, you talk about a success story for him personally. His personal story is great, but I think it's a success story to guys like Jim Crossan and Bob Green that found him in junior hockey. Two members of our scouting department, Keith Gretzky, who's put a lot of time into James. I remember when he first was during the pandemic year, first came in, I didn't know much about him. I watched a little bit of video on him, but it was just someone who stood out on a day-by-day basis, kept getting better, started with a real small role on the team and gradually increased his minutes played and his importance in our forward grouping down there. And then, obviously he's signed an NHL contract now and he's a viable option. He's at a heck of a rookie camp leading the kids in Penticton, and then certainly carried that over here into main camp.
And didn't see Draisaitl or Yamamoto on the ice today. What is their statuses?
Yeah, Leon had a personal day, and Yamo got nicked up a little bit, so we held him off.
I'm going to add to the list of injuries. There are a couple other guys, Sam Rukoff and Fogel.
We held Fogel off the last 2 days. Obviously, Sammy played last night. We held him off today.
And any up on Tyler Benson, who was
I put it out there. Yeah, maybe it wasn't to this group. Maybe it was in Abbotsford. But Tyler had the picture taken. It's not day to day. It'll be more week to week. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yep.
I just wonder about that line of Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, McLeod, and Fogel. They've been together a lot of camp. You haven't played them all the time because of guys coming in and out. But
yeah.
I feel like you know what you have in that group. You're committed to maybe starting the year with them.
I'm not going to commit to anything. We still got another preseason game to play. And my philosophy, DNB, which is to make sure that we're light on our feet and judge things as they happen, not be prisoner to something that was decided beforehand. So using the real-time information that our players give us. But certainly when they were together, they put in some good games, and all three good players.
What are you learning about Jack Campbell here? He hasn't played a lot, but he's had a couple of good performances. And what have you kind of noticed from him as he heads toward the end of camp and into the start of the league?
Yeah, I think he's a popular teammate. Obviously, he's a very well-spoken guy, friendly person. He's the type of goalie that I think his teammates would like to play for, just because of how amiable he is. And what you guys don't get to see, but I get to see every day, is how serious he is about his profession, how serious he is every day in practice, how hard he battles, and how he's trying to prepare himself for our regular season. In his appearances, he's made some really good saves. So I think he, the way he's playing, the way he carries himself, it leads to confidence from his teammates and his coaching staff.
So one more game left for you guys. Do you have it in your head already how you want this team to look? Or the decision's been made and you're just looking to reaffirm that you're shaking?
Nope, no. I don't. Yeah, no, I don't. I think, we say in our coaching staff that when you have time, you use it. And so we're using this last game as another opportunity to evaluate our players. There's some key battles going on. There are people pushing very, very hard. And I just think that, there's no need to box yourself in right now. So we're gonna use the time that we have available to us. And like I said, as a coaching staff, we sit in that room every day at the end of the day, and we evaluate how the day went, how the team performed, how individuals are performing, and especially in the key battles, we spend a lot of time talking about that. So we're going to use that last preseason game tomorrow night as a real evaluation tool to help set our team up heading into next week.
So Holloway's looked really good, and then when he plays against NHL competition, there's a bit of understandably a bit of a sag. Is that something that a guy like him would just work through?
Is that your opinion, or is that accepted wisdom?
That's one person's opinion.
Okay, that's one person's opinion. I'm quite happy with the way Dylan Holloway has played in camp. There's been a lot of learning experiences, and I think that's what you're referring to, going on the road into some tough buildings against tough lineups. I thought he acquitted himself very well. I thought he was good in the game last night. There wasn't a lot of rhythm to the game just based on the amount of penalties that were called, but he played on the penalty kill. He finished some checks. He showed up in some offensive opportunities. I thought it was a good game for Dylan.
And just lastly, Ryan Murray, he sort of was billed coming here as seventh defenseman, as insurance. Do you see him?
Billed by who as the seventh defenseman?
Not by me.
You didn't claim that one?
It wasn't mine, no. But
well, I can tell you, not by the coaching staff. We, as I said, we're trying to use our eyes every single day, and we are evaluating, we watch, and we're serious about icing the best lineup possible. And it would be hypocritical if we came up here and said, oh yeah, well, there's lots of battles, and there's a fight for ice time or privileged ice time or roles within the team, and then just had a set way of thinking that was decided in August or early September. We got to use our eyes. And we can't be afraid to see what we see. And Ryan Murray's had a good camp.
Jay, as you get down to crunch time, and you're essentially splitting hairs when you get down to those last few roster spots, you say you're using your eyes. What are you looking for? What kind of criteria are you looking for?
Well, two different answers to that question. From the team perspective, I think it's important for our team to make sure our game is in a healthy place. So the habits that are going to help sustain us over the rigors of an 82-game schedule, I think, are being strengthened during this training camp. And we'd like to see that continue into this last preseason game. We've had a lot of really good practice time. We've touched a lot of areas of the game. We feel good about that, but it is an everyday business, so you got to be able to bring it every single day from the team perspective. Individually, I think this last preseason game is an important one. I think that there are individuals who are engaged in a battle for survival to make the team, and they have to do things to stand out and be noticed because they're trying to win a roster spot. I think there are other individuals that have to make sure that their game is in order for when the regular season starts next week. I think one of the things we talk to our players about is taking a personal inventory of where they're at. And so that's how I would look at that. I would look at it from a team perspective, but also from an individual perspective.
Okay, from the individual perspective, there's some guys from Bakersfield. Does that help their cause?
Well, I think anytime you have shared circumstances, it gives me comfort to know what certain people can do in different situations because I've seen it done before, but that's a completely different level. And when I say that we have to not be afraid to see what we're seeing, that's because this is its own level. This is the National Hockey League. This is the best league in the world. And just because someone had some success in the American League and they share some history with a few of the coaches, that's nice. But I don't think it tips the scales one way or the other. Good. Thanks, guys.